Alrighty then, mic check, mic check. Welcome to another First Timers Friday. Now, just because it says First Timers Friday does not mean this is not going to be for folks who have been around a while, and it's going to be good for you too. We're going to answer some good questions that have been put in, some advanced level questions. They're gone into our Ask Me Any Questions section. Today, we are also going to address the new folks though. If you are kind of new with us, maybe you just started, we had a whole lot of people join with us. We just smashed that small account challenge against Ross Cameron and Warrior Trading, and kind of destroyed that contest pretty well. So we saw, we had a lot of people coming and taking a peek at us, but there's a lot to digest when it comes to algorithmic trading and what's the difference between that and cyborg trading, and how does AlgoBox fit into that, and Vinny Mini and all of that. How does the crew work? How does the training work? I'm going to go through a little bit of that here tonight that goes along with this big question of contract size, and does size matter, and how big should you get? Should you, go big early? Should you slow it in? That kind of thing. Let's answer all of that. Make sure you're following us over here on our social media, especially here on Instagram. You're gonna have a lot of fun there, and of course getting to learn all the things that we're doing here. Gonna be here on Discord, which links are down in the description down below in this video if it's the first time that you have seen some of us. So let's get into the training windows here and get plugged in this evening. Let's roll that tape. And don't forget, trading is risky. Make sure you understand all those risks. But if this is what you're into, this might be the place for you. Let's plug in. Alrighty then, so let's come on down here into our training window and let's talk about what we've got going on here this evening. So if you're brand new with us, one of the things I would recommend, if maybe you came here because you found this on the small account challenge, I want to show how this breaks down. If you're here on the weekend and you want to really get acclimated, you want to see this in action, I think that's a really good way for you to kind of decide whether or not, hey, this is something that you want to do, maybe not want to do. Like, go and look how it's actually traded in live market conditions, in live accounts, trading against one of the bigger names out there, starting from a small account. If you're a small account or large account, even if you are a veteran trader, if you're starting with a new system, you probably want to start small. Let's be honest, right? Now, if you get and see how powerful our system is and you're going to go all in because you've already been trading the markets and you're just going to use this to enhance your system, every person is a little bit different, which is what we're going to address here tonight. But I think that you want to understand how we break down the small account challenge. So from day number 1 all the way down here at the bottom, again, here we started with a $2,500 account. Now, $2,500, some people might ask, well, what about the PDT rule, Vinny? What's up with that? How do you skip that? Well, in futures contracts and E-minis, this is one of those great things that you don't have to worry about in this. One of those advantages, kind of like with options. Options, a lot of people go trade options, although options is a very, very bad place. Folks, if you want to get a real person's opinion on this, who's been around the markets for a very long time, you do not want to be trading small accounts with options. I don't care who's told you that. If you want to gamble, yes, certainly, absolutely. But if you really want to start into something that you're going to have some long-term success with, or the potential to, then you want to start in probably with E-minis and futures, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit of that. There's a lot of videos out there on that, but I started with that $2,500 account. This allowed me to trade 5 contracts. Now, you might be asking, if you coming from trader funding programs, like, wait a minute, how are you able to trade 5 contracts? I mean, with some of these trader funding programs, if you go down the list on this, I have a whole set of videos around how and why. But how is it you can trade 5 contracts, Vinny? When I'm on a trader funding, they tell me to trade 5 contracts, I need a $150,000 account, and that I need to go and get funded with them. How are you trading 5 contracts at $2,500? That is because they are lying to you. They're liars. That's what they do best. That's the whole sham and scam of this industry. You want to know the truth? You come here. We just tell it to you like it is. We're not here for your feelings. We're here about facts. So we go into this day 1. If you want to see how you would start with a $2,500 account with a system like ours and see the accuracy and how we're able to grow that rather quickly because of the leverage that are inherent to that. So up to 5 contracts. Remember, that doesn't mean that I'm just trading 5 contracts on every trade. That means I can trade 1 contract, 2 contracts, 3 contracts, 4 and 5. And we talk about this in some of our other videos, which is what we're going to also mainly address tonight, is contract size. How do you pick what size it's going to be when you're practicing, when you're about to go live, when you are, full-time trader? How and why and what size do you suggest, Vinny? Because again, this is going to be my opinion tonight here and my suggestions on having mentored hundreds of people now through our program. I know a whole lot of things and how to get people successful in the shortest amount of time possible. So that's our focus. So starting in at that 5 contract thing, remember, I am looking for 5 sizes. Okay, I don't really care how many contracts as long as you can have 5. So with 5, that is the minimum, obviously, because you can start with 1. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That gives me 5 options, which stands for what? toe in the water, quarter position, half position, full, full plus. Those are our 5 that we talk about in our training program. If you're a little bit lost with this, don't worry. I'm giving you the overview on how and what we do with this, and to answer a very specific question that one of our members asked that I'm going to play here for you guys in just a moment. But if you are starting with a small account, I would suggest maybe watch videos numbers 1 through, really, I think it was like through day 10 or 12 of the contest. Basically the first 2 weeks. So probably right through here. Day 10 on down if you are starting with a small account. Okay, and watching that grow, starting in, and it's more difficult to trade with a small account. You have to be more precise. You have to be more filtered. You can't even trade the NASDAQ. So this is one of those things we are assuming $500 per contract margins, which you are probably not getting if you're not with a good broker. Again, we use the best brokers. If you guys want to know what those are, come and take a peek. They are discount brokers, but you are the business. So you always want to buy from discount since you are the business. That's how things work. So $500 a contract. However, NASDAQ is $1,000 a contract. So if I've got 2,500, can I trade NASDAQ if it's $1,000 a contract? No. Okay. So what am I trading here? I'm going to be trading the ES, the RTY, and the Dow, right? And you guys can watch that from videos 1 through 10. Then from 10 on up, if you are kind of a mid-size account, because around here, somewhere in here, I'm probably getting up into the $10K, $15,000, $16,000 range. We're probably good here. Then the folks who I recommend, if you have $25,000 that you can start into the markets, like if you're already trading stocks and you've got the PDT rule. If you don't know what the PDT is, again, this is important to know what that is. Those are the rules around trading stocks. If you want to be a day trader, they require you to have 25K capital in an account. If you guys don't know about that, again, just Google it. This is a normal thing. You should already know these things, so I'm kind of running through them real quick. I'm not going to explain them. But if you start with this, I always say this, if you're starting here in stocks, you're at a disadvantage. You take that 25K and run it over here in futures, in my opinion, it's a huge advantage here with the amount of leverage that you have there and the size adjustment that you have. A lot of leeway when you've got that extra capital. So if you do have that and you learn how to trade this, and you can now maximize what you can do with that 25K. And we start that kind of in the later series. And again, this whole contest was around 60 plus days of actual trading. So you guys can go watch that entire contest. But again, I would recommend checking that out if you are trying to start with us and figure out what's going on. And you can see the account size adjustments as we go. In order to answer this question right here from one of our members, let's play this through here. This is put in by one of our members, Jansta.
Asking this question in here since it's a members only question. In the middle 40 days, you say we are to swing at anything and everything, following rules and strats, and to get REKT or not, but get used to the mechanics and lose fear of certain setups, build confidence, etc. Now.
So right there, she said, in the middle of 40 days. Now, in our program, we have 3 sections of 40. So we have 40, 40, 40. And if you're coming through our program, remember, first 40 days, this is kind of an easy section. All right, this is training, right? Training, videos, no big deal. I mean, it is. I mean, you need to spend some extra time here. But where the rubber meets the road is right here. And this is where Jansta is. She's saying, what about the middle 40 days? In the middle 40 days, here you say that, we need to kind of get wrecked here. This is where we learn how to deal with fear, okay? And remember, 2 things control the markets. What is the other one? That's going to be greed, right? Fear and greed control the markets. And we focus on that in the final 40 days of really maximizing. This is where we talk about maximizing our winners. This is where things get really, really fun. But here is one of the most difficult places. So if you find yourself right here, you're in the middle 40 days, this video is really focused in right here for those of you folks who are in that middle 40 days and kind of coming into the how do I control my fear? How do I control my stops? This is all about stops and how to take losses. This is also about that big word that nobody likes, right? How to take a loss. Right? How to be good at taking losses. This is actually a thing in our business. You need to learn how to take losses. Now, I don't even really like that word, but this is what everybody refers to it as, losses. What I like to refer to it as business expenses, okay? If you're a business, you might call them losses, right? But what if you rename that from loss to expenses? These are just normal things that you have to pay for, whether it's advertising or paying somebody for information, legal teams. You are paying for, I don't know, the electricity, the light bulbs. You're paying for the cleaning services, maybe the equipment. That's money that you're putting into your business, okay? these things could be looked at like this, because again, any business, you are going to have some outgo in order to have some income, right? So those losses, how do we control these? How do we take them well, right? How to spend on your advertising well, how to spend on hiring good employees well, right? This is the focus right here on your business. Remember, we focus on business trading like a business, and you running a business as a trader, which is just buying and selling stuff. And what is the thing that we sell? The contracts. Okay, so those contracts we've been talking about, we're going to buy and sell them. We're going to buy them at a lower price, sell them at a higher price. There's no like, oh, we're going to double it or any of that kind of stuff. In fact, what we're trying to do is gain chunks at a time. This is not, we don't swing for fences here. There's a lot of YOLO shops out there. You probably hear about those. Most of the time you'll hear these, big winner, big hit stuff, and they're posting it all over YouTube. That's not how we acquire capital as a trading business. This is actually a proverb. You guys know my company name is Ecclesiastes Global Investments. This is a biblical proverb that you always need to keep in your mind. This one says, wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gains little by little over time will increase it. Okay, so what we do is we are taking chunks. We're taking 500 chunks, 1K chunks, 4K chunks, right? Now you see these big guys out there, throwing down like, oh, I hit $1 million day, whatever. Look, a lot of that you need to go and check on. I hit a 100K day. I hit a 250K day. Look, folks, you're not going to see that around here. Like, our largest day I've ever hit was a $58,000 day during a Brexit event. It was a crazy, one-off scenario. What we do here is just consistently target. That's what our system does in the algorithmic cyborg style set of trading. We just consistently pull that out. If you have seen, if you haven't printed one of these out yet, you need to make sure that you've got one of these. We have a paper printout of this $500 sheet. This is the minimum that we target. That is not the max. This is the minimum. Remember, minimum 500 a day. We'll show you guys why we do that. It has to do with being able to make 6 figures a year. Why 6 figures? I had to pick a number. And this is going to cut right into some of the stuff that Jansta was asking here. She's asking about that 40 days, says that you want us to swing at anything and everything to get wrecked. Okay, now, what does that mean? People have a little bit of question with that. They might have heard me say that in a video. What I mean is I want you to take a lot of losers, right? How do I get you to take a lot of losers? I mean, our system is very, very good. So if you are filtering appropriately and whatnot, you're going to have a whole lot of wins. So, I mean, I'm not getting a lot of practice if you're getting all winners, right? And I've told you guys before that you learn more, and everybody knows this in life, you learn more from your losses and your struggles than you do from your wins. Let's be honest, okay? So the same thing applies here. I don't want you to get a bunch of wins here in the 40 days. I want you to get stuck into some losers. So I literally say, look, take every play you see. Now, I don't want you to just take random stuff. But if you see, a dot by itself, you see a headshot, go ahead and take that headshot, but put your stops in the proper location and don't worry about the filter. Like, look over at the MACV, even though you should be taking a headshot with the filter direction. If you're going to take a bigger trade, it doesn't matter. Like, go filterless on that. Just take every headshot, take every 2-finger salute, take every double dot, take every PRZ cross, take every double cross, double move. I want you to practice them, just enter them, because I want you to focus on those losers, putting your stops at the bottom of the cross. So let's talk about that. Bottom of the cross, what are our different types of stops? What's he talking about with that? So if I'm going long, bottom of the cross. If I'm going short, top of the cross. These are where the stops are going to go on an entry if you have a cross involved in the play. What if you have a dot? Right, so one of our dot plays. Where am I putting my stops on a dot play? Okay, if I'm going long, because this is a green one, stop is right below the dot. Right, very small stop. We are looking for the price to shoot up this direction. Right, if we are the other way and we've got a red dot coming to the spot, stop is at the top. Right, what is our third? Boxes, right? So we got a box. What are the different types of boxes? This is where it gets a little bit, we'll just call these PRZs. All of them are PRZs if you want to group this as a category. So we have 3 different types of stops. We have the cross, we have dots, and we have PRZs. And this can be off of a harmonic, or what's the other one? About it? Pop quiz. 2 fingers. Okay. 2 fingers, that's also it's a box at the back. It is a PRZ. Remember, PRZ stands for potential reversal zone. So these are our 3 stop types, right? Cross, dot, and box. Got it? Cross, dot, box. Boom. Put them there. This is the focus in the 40 days. Now, she said, so I'm supposed to get wrecked all the time. You know, I hope that is clear. Why I'm telling you I want you to get wrecked is because I want you to take a lot of these, right? Focus on moving. These are mechanics. Remember, I'm also focused big time on mechanics in your middle 40 days. What does that mean? Mechanics are, in gaming terms, this is things like getting behind walls correctly, peeking, using peeks, doing a lot of neat stuff like that in gaming. How does it translate here? Things like moving your stop, click, drag, click, click, drag, click, click, drag, click. Being able to grab the tag on a stop. This is what a tag usually looks like this, right? Being able to click right here, click, drag it up, click it again, boom, so that tag moves right up there. Okay, those types of things, stops, targets, mechanics, all in the middle 40 days. I want you to practice that, particularly, again, big focus right there on that stop. Now, coming back to that whole thing. So what size should I be doing that at, right? So let's continue on with her statement here.
Now, here's the question. On Sim, we have a huge account by default. Of course, we can change to whatever we want or reset it. Are we to go all gung-ho and use as many contracts as we want? Or would you...
Okay, so she's asking, how many contracts? I mean, should I just go all gung-ho and like go all in? Okay, now listen, I've answered these in some other videos. In fact, I'll prove that out because Joe down here, actually, he answered this perfectly. I mean, I feel like Joe has been watching my videos. I know. Thanks, Joe. First, mad props to Joe, who put a response to this down below. He literally answered this verbatim. I don't know that I can make any corrections off of his statement down below for how he answered this, so mad props to him. But should you go all gung-ho? I mean, obviously not. Although, I will say, actually, I do want you to try that a few times. I want you to see what happens if you punch in, I don't know what gung-ho to you is, right? But I don't know, you're gonna go 20 contracts in. What happens? How much do you make on a 20 contract trade if you got to 20? You guys see me often. I will get, my standard is 16, so you need to know what 16 is gonna be, but that may be gung-ho for you. You may be thinking, wow, 16, that's a lot, that's huge. If that's your big, okay, you know that my max is what? What's my max? 40, right? Now, a long time ago, back, I don't know how, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, you guys remember I was at 80. When I was trading the ES, I would go up to 80, right? I don't trade the ES much now, right? There's a whole lot of reasons for that. It's too slow. We've got better tool systems. Our system has gotten even better over the years. And now hitting in on RTY, NASDAQ, and the Russell, along with crude oil and gold, going to be better opportunities most of the time than ES, which only ES we're going to hit when the VIX is super high and it's moving like NASDAQ. When it's moving real fast, then we jump in on that one, right? But so maybe you try 40, maybe you want to try 80. You need to see what those numbers are. If you are afraid to press those buttons and you don't feel this, because I can't just teach you, oh, well, if you make it to here, it's going to be about $5,000 for a price target on that, but it's also could be also a minus 4,000 if you are, like, just saying that to you doesn't mean anything. It's like trying to teach you how to swim without throwing you in the water. You have to practice. So I would say play with your size during this time. Remember, you're in sim, you are doing your demo, you are doing your market replay. This is the time to practice size. But what is my recommended? Here's where this varies on person to person. What you have to ask yourself is the same thing when college students or kids who are going into college who ask me advice on, like, Vinny, what should I go into and study? What my advice to that child, number one, and I say child because they're usually in high school and things when they're asking these questions, when they're people from church or family, etc., is, well, I start with this question. Don't ask what you want to do or what you should be, like, oh, where would it be good? And like, I mean, good is relative to every person. And a lot of people start with this. This is bad advice. If anybody gives you this bad advice, well, what do you love? What do you love to do? Here's a Twitter answer. Just ask yourself, if you just do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, right? That whole BS, okay? It's BS. If anybody tells you that, just like never take that person's advice again, okay? It sounds good, but it's worth nothing. It's garbage. Here's the truth. Are you ready for this? College students, high school students, wherever you are in life, I'll start with this question. Number one, picture your life. What do you want in life? Okay. Now, hopefully you've met enough people and you've seen enough people that you know what it is. Do you want to be the person, hey, you want to drive around, you got a minivan, lots of kids, and you got a nice home where, it's got a picket fence around the outside. Picture the house. I start there. Picture your life, okay? Not your work. That's the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Work is for work. Work is to acquire capital. Capital is used to create your life. That is a transfer mechanism from the time that you spend into the time that you want to spend. Work is a have to spend. Life is what you want to spend. And you want to acquire as much of this capital with the least amount of time. That's the ideal, in my opinion. Okay? Now, so my advice is to ask yourself, picture your house. Then, here's the thing. Most kids that are at this age, they have no idea how much a house costs, okay? And have no idea how much money you need to make per year. Parents don't talk about this. How many of you guys know about parents who are like, well, you know, son, but hey, Dad, how much should we buy for that car? Oh, well, you know, we got that car. And, well, Dad, how much should we pay for it? Oh, I mean, you know, don't ask that. That's personal. That's private. And, Dad, I mean, it's our car. I drive around in it. Yeah, but, you know, it's just... Oh, well, I looked it up online, Dad. Looks like it was $40,000. Like, how'd you get $40,000? Oh, well, son, I mean, I didn't have $40,000. I mean, you know, I financed it. Well, what's finance, Dad? I mean, look, people don't want to talk about this stuff at the table. I am never going to be like that with my kids. Like, my kids are going to know what's up. They know how things work. I think you should. I should be open. I think people need to be more real and stop playing these little games of like stuff you don't want to talk about. It's sensitive, and I don't really want to talk about that. I mean, it's private. Get over it. Why does that matter? Picture your house first, then picture the price tag. Is it a $200,000 house? Yeah. In fact, some people don't even know what a $200,000 house is. And it depends on what part of the world you're in, like what part of the country you're in. I mean, a $200,000 house in California is, I mean, a cardboard box on the corner somewhere, okay? It's bad. A $200,000 house in Texas, in like all the way down in Houston, I mean, you could get a nice home there for that, right? I think, like, for me, a general, like, nice home here in the Texas area is like $400,000 for a family with, you know, multiple people in and whatnot. That's a house. If you picture yourself in an apartment, anyway, you get my point with this, is that know how much it costs, and then find out how much do you need to make per year to live in that appropriately. That's where you start. Now, you say, well, Vinny, you're talking about work, and all, well, what about trading? This all applies. Trust me, watch. So you, as the trader, do the same thing. Picture your house. Picture where you want to be, not where you are. This is the key. In fact, Joe hit in on this. Okay, he said, don't picture where you currently are. He got this from one of my videos, and I applaud him for it. Again, do not play and practice and think about where you are. Practice and focus on, and you practice like where you want to be. Drop the full pause. Stop right there. You practice and envision where you want to be, and you be that. You practice that in order to become that, in order to get to that. Follow me? So how do we do that with our trading contract size? So first of all, you need to know how many contracts to get to. What is that number? Now, that number does matter. You need to decide. You decide for yourself. How much money do you want to make per year? Ask yourself that question. Write it down right now on your piece of paper that you're hopefully taking notes on while you're watching my videos. You need to have your notepad next to you, okay? That notepad should say, how much money do I want to make per year? At least for right now, not for forever.